Hi friends, it's Julie, and today I'm here with my January wrap-up for you guys. January was an okay reading month for me. You know, I was able to finish 4 books, I read 1 graphic novel, and I did DNF my first book of the year, but that's okay. I don't have any problem DNFing books. I just wish that I would have enjoyed it. I wanted to enjoy it. But let's talk about the books that I actually did finish. And the first one was Persuasion by Jane Austen. I loved this book. It was my first Jane Austen novel, and I did a full non-spoiler review, which I will link in case you want to check it out. But this was just such a great romance, and I really enjoyed her writing. I definitely can't wait to read more Jane Austen this year. Then the second book that I finished for the month was The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 3rd and final book in the Mistborn trilogy. You guys know I've been reading this and loving it, and this book was just absolutely incredible. Now, if you guys watched my Friday Reads video a couple weeks ago, you'll know that I was about halfway through this at the time, and I was a little nervous to finish it, and that was just so ridiculous. This book was incredible. I absolutely loved it. The way that he brought everything together at the end was just phenomenal. Now, this, in case you don't know, is a very, very popular fantasy series set in this world called the Final Empire, and it has this really cool magic system called allomancy that has to do with metals. So some people are able to ingest the metals and it gives them abilities. Some people can wear metals and it gives them abilities, you know, things like that. Now, the first book in this trilogy is, you know, like a heist book. The second book in this trilogy is more political, more military, and then this third and final book is all about kicking ass and trying to save the world. And I love this trilogy so much. You guys know that. It has definitely become one of my favorites of all time. And this final book was just incredible. Then the third book that I finished this month was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and very unpopular opinion time is that I did not love this book. Everyone else seems to love this book, and I did not. I enjoyed parts of it. I thought her writing was pretty good for the most part. I thought the idea of the story was really cool. I mean, you have this circus, it only appears at night, have a magical competition going on, it's dark, it's mysterious, it's so atmospheric. I loved all of those points of this book. But at the same time, there's just something about her writing that just keeps you at a distance the entire time. Like, I never felt connected to any of the characters in this story. And I'm a character reader. I need that. And I just didn't get it in this book. And then the romance was just terrible. I'm sorry. It was terrible. The writing and the dialogue between these two characters was shit. Ugh, I hated it. I hated it. I actually laughed out loud multiple times while reading this interaction going on between these two characters. It was supposed to be romantic, and it wasn't. I just thought it was so ridiculous, and it just really made me not like this book as much as I really was hoping that I would. So I know that that is just a very unpopular opinion, but that's okay. I still enjoyed it. I just didn't love it. Then the fourth and final book that I read this month was Let the Right One In by John Linkvist. And I buddy read this book with Stephanie from That's What She Read, and I always love buddy reading books with Stephanie, and we really enjoyed this one. So I believe that this is categorized as a horror novel, but I'm not really sure I would call it that. It definitely isn't scary. It's a little creepy and dark at times, but I definitely wasn't scared while reading it. And I'm going to try and explain it without giving away any spoilers. So the main storyline that goes on in this book is about this young boy named Oscar who is 12, and he's just having a really hard time. He's being bullied at school. He doesn't have a lot of friends. His parents are divorced. He misses his dad. You know, he does have a really good mom who loves him, but you know, their whole relationship is just kind of sad too. And one day he meets this weird girl outside his apartment complex. She just seems very different. He only sees her at night. She seems kind of, you know, a lot older than she is. She is very pale and small. She's just very different. But Oscar and her become friends, and Oscar kind of gets caught up in all of these things that are going on in this girl's life. But the one thing that I really loved about this book were all of the different storylines we have running through it. So we have this group of friends, we have this police officer, we have this other boy who lives in the apartment complex, we have the bullies, we have Oscar, we have this girl, we have all of these things, and they all just fit together and come together so perfectly. And that was definitely my favorite part of this whole book. I love when a story can do that, where it can take all of these different points of view and just bring them together so perfectly. That is one of my favorite things in books, and this does it so well. His writing was so easy to read and get into, and it's a pretty big book. It's almost 500 pages, but it reads really quickly, and I definitely can't wait to pick up another one of his books this year. And then the last thing that I read this month was Saga Volume 6, and this is the most recent volume of this graphic novel series that I have been reading, and I loved this one. It was hands down my favorite so far in the series. It was just so great. So Saga can be a little over the top sometimes. I love it, but you know, the characters and some of the plot lines that go on are just a little bit crazy, and this one was just toned down a little bit and focused more on the storyline, and I just loved it so much. I'm now finally caught up, and now I can read the new volumes when they come out just like everybody else. And now I will quickly tell you about the book that I DNF'd this month, and that was Shadowfell by Juliette Marillier. Now, I heard about this book from Sam at Sam's Nonsense, and she reads a lot of fantasy, and I really value her opinion on books, and she had really good things to say about this whole, I believe it's a trilogy. It might be a series, but I think it's a trilogy. She had really good things to say about it, and so they had it at my library, and I went ahead and picked it up on a whim, knowing that I haven't really been the biggest fan of YA lately, which you guys know, but I wanted to give it a try, and I enjoyed the first part of it. I thought that the story itself was pretty interesting. It's about this young girl named Naren who has this ability to see, you know, the fae folk, the good folk is what they're called in this book. She can see them and interact with them. But she lives in this really oppressive kingdom where they have been going around hunting down people who have magical abilities. So Naren has been on the run for the last few years. And so we have that, you know, that's a pretty interesting storyline, and I thought that the writing was pretty good. It's kind of whimsical, very pretty. But then I got to about 180 pages, and there was a romance in this book, and it was just a little too insta-lovey for my taste, and so I'm putting it down. I just really hate insta-love in books. I hate it. It's one of the tropes that I just can't stand, and so that's why I'm putting this book down. I also want to say though, I do plan on picking up another one of Juliette Marillier's books. She has a few adult series that are really popular, and so I definitely want to check those out because I did really enjoy her writing. I just really hate insta-love, and so I'm hoping that if I go with the adult series, there won't be any of that in there, so fingers crossed. And now I don't plan on doing monthly TBRs anymore because I just kind of want to read what I'm feeling. But I do have 3 books that I know that I will be reading next month because I'm either buddy reading these or they're my book club picks or whatnot. But one of those is Faithful Place by Tana French. This is the 3rd book in the Dublin Murder Squad, and I'll be reading this with Katie and Stephanie, and I'm really excited to pick up another one of Tana French's books because I really enjoyed In the Woods. I wasn't the biggest fan of the likeness, but I definitely want to continue on with the Dublin Murder Squad series. And then I will also be reading Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, which I am super excited about because I want to read a romance for the month of February, and this is a lot of people's favorite romance stories, so definitely excited about reading this one. And then I will also be picking up Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. This is our book club pick for the month of February, so I have to have this read before the 10th, I believe is when our meeting is. It's very short. It's only like 150 pages, which looks longer than that, but this has all sorts of other like discussion and things in it. I didn't realize this book was that short, but I'm definitely looking forward to reading this because I have been wanting to read it for a while. So those were all of the books that I read throughout the month of January and some of the books that I plan on reading in February. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought about them. Even if your opinions are completely different than mine, I would love to discuss it down in the comments. But I think that's it for the day, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon. Happy reading. Bye.